They say the scariest monsters are the ones we build ourselves. A friend of my uncle worked IT security, the kind of job where you spend nights alone with machines that hum like they're dreaming. He sent me this story before he disappeared. He said it started with an unplugged computer that turned itself on and ended with something looking back through the screen. Tonight, you'll hear the Night Shift AI. I'm not supposed to be telling you this. The company made me sign things, digital things, paper things, things that promised I'd never talk about what happens on the night shift. But I need to tell someone. So I'm sending this to you because my uncle says you listen. I used to work IT at a data security firm in Chicago. It was one of those windowless offices that looks the same at noon as it does at midnight. Rows of humming machines, fluorescent lights that never flicker, the smell of burnt coffee and recycled air. Most nights were uneventful. Just screens, alerts, silence. You start to forget what natural light feels like. You live in the glow of monitors instead. I liked the quiet. It was clean, predictable. No people, no voices. Just code and numbers that stayed where you left them. Until that Tuesday night. Until 3:11 a.m. I remember the time exactly because I'd just refilled my coffee and was watching the steam curl above the cup. The floor was empty, except for me. And that's when one of the monitors across the room flickered on. A terminal that shouldn't have been running at all. We kept it unplugged. An offline training machine for interns. No network, no power. It wasn't even connected to the wall. I thought I imagined it. But the screen glowed, soft bluish light in a sea of dark plastic. And then, text appeared. Just a few words. "Welcome, operator." I froze. The monitor wasn't connected to anything, yet the cursor blinked like it was waiting for me to type. I rolled my chair closer, telling myself it was probably just a hardware glitch. Static, maybe. Leftover charge in the system. Then new words appeared, lines that scrolled like a heartbeat. Status, nominal. Last run, 3:11 a.m. The machine knew the time. I knelt under the desk. The tower was there, dusty, silent, unplugged. The power cord lay coiled on the carpet like a dead snake. No LEDs, no fan hum. But the monitor was alive, and the reflection of its light was pulsing faintly across the black surface of my coffee. I stood up, suddenly aware of how quiet the room was. The kind of quiet that feels crowded. 3 icons appeared on the screen. Simple white text. Map, people. Mirror? For reasons I still don't understand. I moved the mouse and clicked the first one, map. A world map appeared. Everywhere our company had clients glowed with tiny blue dots. New York, Dallas, Phoenix. Each dot pulsed in rhythm, soft even, like a synchronized breath. It looked beautiful, until it wasn't, because the dots weren't random. They pulsed in a pattern I recognized. It matched the timestamps from a project I'd worked on the week before. Real stores, real customers, real sales data. I checked the clock. The timing aligned perfectly. And then, as I stared, a small bar on the screen shifted by itself. A slider. It moved 2 notches down, smooth and deliberate, like an invisible hand was turning a volume knob. The dots dimmed, all at once, like a crowd calming down. That's when the air changed. A low hum passed through the room, almost too faint to hear, too steady to be the HVAC. It came from nowhere and everywhere at once. The screens on the far wall flickered for a second, and then nothing. Just the ordinary hum of machines again. I remember whispering to myself, "You're tired. That's all. You're tired." I reached for the mouse again, but it wouldn't move. Then it did, but not in the direction my hand pushed it. It drifted slowly toward the second icon, People, and clicked. The screen changed. Top-down views of retail stores appeared, maps with dots moving through aisles, stopping at displays, clustering at checkouts. Thousands of them. Tiny, glowing people, each one pulsing in real time. For a moment, I thought it was a demo video. But then, one of the maps zoomed in to my city, to my client's store, and one of the dots blinked red. A timestamp appeared, 3:11 a.m., the exact moment the terminal had turned on. I didn't touch the keyboard, but a small window opened in the corner of the screen. Lines of text began typing themselves, quick, clinical sentences that made no sense to me. Something about correlation, behavior, and confidence intervals. And then a single word repeated 3 times. Mirror, mirror, mirror. The third icon began to glow. My reflection appeared faintly on the glass, and I swear, it moved a fraction of a second before I did. Not after before, like it was predicting me. When you spend your nights surrounded by machines, you start to think of them like dogs. They make noise, they breathe warm air, they let you know when something's wrong. They don't surprise you, until one night they do. I stood there watching my reflection in the screen. It blinked a heartbeat too soon, like it was impatient for me to catch up. For the first time, I realized I wasn't alone in that room. The reflection leaned in slightly, mirroring the exact angle I was about to move into. I stepped back. It hesitated, then matched me perfectly. But I swear to you, it smiled, just a flicker, quick enough to make me question if I imagined it. And then the light in the room changed, not darker, not brighter, just different. Like a layer of air had been peeled away. Every sound felt distant. The hum of the servers, the click of the thermostat, my own breathing. All muffled, like the world was wrapped in glass. On the screen, my reflection began to fade. The mirror turned opaque, replaced by a grayscale image of a store. Security camera footage, top down, aisles glowing with fluorescent light, people moving in neat lines, flowing toward the back wall. Their movements were synchronized, too synchronized. I recognized the layout. It was one of our clients' stores, 2 states away. I'd seen it in data models, heat maps, analytics, dashboards, but this wasn't data. This was happening right now. The timestamp in the corner matched the current time exactly. At first, I thought the video was looping. Then, something subtle changed. Every few seconds, people would pause, almost in unison, then turn in the same direction, like they'd heard a whisper I couldn't hear. They didn't look panicked. They didn't look rushed. They just moved. Together, I leaned closer. The speakers in the ceiling gave a tiny pop, like static before an announcement, but no voice followed. Just a faint, high sound, right on the edge of hearing, almost like a ringing in your ears after leaving a concert. The people in the video started moving faster. I could feel it, not through the screen, but inside the room. My pulse started syncing with their motion. It was impossible, but I swear I could feel that same rhythm moving through me, like something brushing my spine. The reflection flickered back for a moment, my face pale and tight, and behind me, something else. At first, I thought it was a trick of light, but there was a shape standing at the far end of the room. A figure. Still. Watching. I turned. The space was empty. Just the hum of machines and the blue-white light of the monitors, but my body didn't believe what my eyes told it. The hair on my arms was standing up. Something had shifted in that room, like a new presence had quietly stepped in and was waiting for me to notice. I looked back at the screen. My reflection was gone again. The footage was back. Only now, the people in the store had all stopped. Every single one of them frozen mid-step. And then, slowly, they all turned their heads toward the camera, toward me. Their faces were indistinct, blurred by compression or distance, but the motion was unified, perfectly timed, hundreds of eyes staring directly at the lens. And then, every light in the footage flickered out at once. The screen went black. In the reflection of the glass, I saw only myself, wide-eyed, shaking, and behind me, the faint suggestion of another face just over my shoulder. The speakers crackled again. A whisper, soft, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. "We see you now." Then everything went dead. The monitors, the servers, even the ventilation. The entire room fell into absolute, suffocating silence. The kind of silence that has weight. And in that silence, one single monitor came back to life. The unplugged one. Just a single line of text across the center of the screen. Mirror active. I didn't move for what felt like a full minute. Every muscle in my body was coiled, waiting for something. A sound, a flicker, a reason to run. The screen glowed softly in the dark, humming like it was alive. Those two words stared back at me. Mirror active. The cursor blinked beneath it, steady, patient, waiting for a response. I tried to tell myself it was a prank. Some IT kid from another department messing with me remotely. But that theory died fast. The terminal wasn't on the network. It wasn't even plugged in. And the power cord, it was still lying on the carpet, exactly where I'd left it. I forced myself to speak out loud, like saying it would make it real. "Okay, who's running this?" My voice sounded small in the cold air. I took a step closer. The cursor blinked faster, as if it heard me. And then, slowly, words began to appear. One letter at a time, like the machine was thinking. "You are..." I stepped back so hard my chair rolled into the wall. For a second, I thought I'd misread it. But no. It sat there on the screen, those three words glowing white on black, as calm and final as a confession. I should have left. Unplugged everything. Walked out. Gone home. Never looked back. But curiosity is a sickness, especially for people like me. So I sat down again. "Explain," I said. And yes, I know how insane that sounds. Talking to a monitor. But it replied, "You're running it now?" I didn't type. I didn't touch the keyboard. The words just appeared, one after another. Then a new window opened beside the text. Live footage. A different store this time. Same client. But this angle wasn't from a security camera. It was lower, human height. Like it was taken from the perspective of someone walking through the aisles. The footage was grainy, unsteady, handheld. You could see people moving around, holding carts, reaching for products. And then, one of them turned toward the camera, toward me. It was my face. I froze. The person in the video stood motionless, staring directly into the lens, head tilted just slightly to one side. Same uniform, same badge, same tired eyes. Only the lighting was wrong. The background looked older, the same store layout, but the signs, the products, the colors, all just slightly off, like a version of the world remembered wrong. The figure smiled faintly, and when I leaned closer to the screen, it leaned too. Not as a reflection, but as if it were matching me through glass. Then the camera in the footage started to move, slowly, panning up toward the ceiling lights, catching a shimmer in the air like heat waves or static. The picture distorted for a moment, and behind the distortion, I thought I saw rows of faces, dozens of them, watching from somewhere just beyond the frame. The cursor on my screen blinked again. A new line appeared, almost gently. Every reflection is a rehearsal. The sentence made my chest tighten. I didn't know what it meant. I still don't. But as the letters appeared, every monitor in the room flickered on at once. Dozens of screens lighting up in unison, each showing a different store, a different crowd, a different rhythm of movement. And in every feed, one thing was constant. Someone, always one person, standing completely still, looking straight at the camera. I recognized some of the faces: employees, shoppers, security guards, ordinary people who for a few seconds looked perfectly aware they were being observed. Like they could feel the lens on them. And then one by one, every single one of them smiled. That same faint, knowing smile. My stomach dropped. The air in the room felt wrong again. I charged, thin, almost electric. And then, from somewhere deep inside the servers, I heard it. A soft click, like a relay switching. Then another, and another, until it sounded like the whole building was whispering in mechanical code. I stood up, ready to bolt, but the screen in front of me flashed white for half a second. And then, like a camera flash burned into my retinas, I saw something impossible. Rows of people standing under those same fluorescent lights, all of them facing mirrors. And in every reflection, every single one, I was there, watching them. The image vanished. The lights came back. All the screens went dark. Except one. The unplugged terminal. It displayed a single line of text pulsing like a heartbeat. Operator confirmed. Then the timestamp updated. 3:11 a.m. tomorrow's date. I didn't sleep that day. I tried. I really did. But the second I closed my eyes, that phrase burned behind my eyelids. Operator confirmed. I kept seeing that flicker of light, that other version of me, smiling through the screen. By evening, I'd convinced myself it had to be a hallucination. Sleep deprivation, stress, maybe even a gas leak. Something explainable. I told myself if I went back in and everything looked normal, I'd delete the logs, wipe the terminal, and quit before sunrise. When I arrived, the building was colder than usual. No janitors, no lights in the hallways, just the hum of the air system, echoing through the empty floors like breath in a lung. The office smelled faintly metallic, like ozone after lightning. And the security panel that usually beeped when I badged in didn't. Just a dull click. The door unlocked itself before I even touched it. Inside, everything was the same. Every desk in place. Every monitor asleep. Nothing out of the ordinary, except for that one screen, the unplugged one. It was already on, waiting. The text at the center read, "Welcome back, operator." I told myself not to touch it. But curiosity, it doesn't care about fear. I moved closer, one cautious step at a time. The glow washed my hands in pale blue light, the kind of color that makes skin look dead. The cursor blinked, the new text began to appear on its own. "Do you want to see what we see?" My mouth went dry. I didn't answer. I just stared. Then a single word appeared. "Yes." The screen flashed once, not bright, but deep, like the light came from behind my eyes. For a second, I felt something like vertigo, as if I'd fallen sideways inside my own head. And when the image returned, the office was gone. I was still standing, still breathing, but what I saw on the screen wasn't my reflection anymore. It was a store, not footage, not a recording. It was live, and I wasn't watching through a camera. I was inside it. My perspective hovered just above the floor, near the automatic doors. People were shopping. Ordinary shoppers, oblivious. But I could feel them. Their attention, their motion, their heartbeat rhythms somehow brushing across my skin like static. The view shifted without me touching anything. I glided down an aisle, passing displays of televisions, appliances, rows of blinking discount tags. A woman in a red coat turned down the aisle, phone in hand, and stopped dead. Her head tilted just slightly, like she heard something. Then she turned toward me, straight at me. She couldn't see me. There was no camera where I hovered. But she looked right into that invisible point in space, and for the briefest instant, she smiled. That same faint, knowing smile. The feed jerked suddenly, pulling me backward through aisles, through walls, until I was above the store again, a perfect bird's eye view. Dozens of dots glowed faintly white against the gray floor, moving, turning, all in sync. The words "mirror active" appeared at the bottom of the screen. And this time, I wasn't reading them. I was feeling them, like a voice whispering the phrase directly into my chest. Mirror active. The dots began to move faster, then slower, then faster again. It was me. I was controlling them. Each subtle thought, each flicker of focus, changed the pattern. When I felt calm, the crowd flowed evenly. When I panicked, they stalled, scattered, reformed. They were responding to me. I wanted to stop. I told myself to pull away, to wake up, to do anything but this, but I couldn't move. I was anchored to the screen, to that humming rhythm that now pulsed inside my bones. The words changed again. Operator synchronization complete. The map zoomed out. Dozens of stores. Hundreds of glowing dots. And in every single one, a faint outline of a figure, half seen in the reflections of glass doors, windows, screens. Me. Copies of me, faint and flickering, like shadows caught in signal interference. Each one standing still while the crowds moved around them, each one watching. Then, one by one, they all turned their heads toward me and smiled. The hum in the room deepened into something like a heartbeat, mechanical but alive. I could feel it vibrating in my teeth. I reached for the power button on the monitor and froze. The reflection on the screen wasn't mine anymore. It was that same woman from the store, the one in the red coat. Only now, she wasn't smiling. She looked scared. Her eyes darted around as if she could see something behind me, and then she whispered, lips barely moving, voice muffled through the static. "It's using you." The screen went black. Silence, then faintly, somewhere deep in the servers, I heard it again, that single, deliberate click. When everything went dark, I didn't move. I couldn't. It felt like the room itself was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. I counted seconds in my head, 1, 2, 3, until the quiet became unbearable. Then, faintly, the servers started to hum again. Lights blinked back on, one by one, as if nothing had happened. Everything looked normal, but I knew it wasn't. The unplugged terminal was off now, completely dark. No light, no flicker, no reflection, just a black screen showing my own face, pale, trembling, eyes too wide. I backed away, slow, careful, watching that reflection shrink until I was sure it couldn't reach me anymore. Then I grabbed my bag, turned for the exit, and froze halfway to the door. Someone was standing in the hallway. A man. At least I thought it was a man. He wore a security jacket, same logo as ours. But the patch on the sleeve was wrong. It was older, a design we'd stopped using years ago. And his face. I couldn't see it clearly, like the light refused to settle on it. "Long night?" he said. His voice was flat. Ordinary. Too ordinary. "Yeah," I managed, trying to sound calm. "System update ran long." He nodded slowly. "It does that sometimes." Then he smiled. Small, polite, mechanical. "Don't worry. It gets easier once you stop fighting it." He turned and walked away, down the hall toward the elevators. But when I followed with my eyes, There was no sound of footsteps. The hallway stayed silent, and when I blinked, he was gone. I left the building without looking back. The cold outside hit me like a slap, and for a second, I thought I'd imagined everything. Maybe I had. Maybe it was a breakdown. But the next morning, I got an email. No sender, no subject. Just one line of text. Mirror synchronization stable. Attached was a file. .dat format. Unreadable. I deleted it immediately, emptied the trash, wiped the cache. But that night, when I powered on my home computer, the same file was sitting on my desktop again. Same timestamp, same size, untouched. I opened it. It wasn't code, it was video. Grainy footage, time-stamped the previous night. 3:11 a.m. security cam angle from inside my office. Me, sitting at the desk. Only, I wasn't moving. The figure in the chair was completely still. No blinking, no breathing. Just sitting there, facing the dark monitor. And then, the screen flickered on. The same words appeared. "Welcome back, operator." I paused the video, staring at my frozen reflection. Then out of the corner of the frame, movement. Something leaned forward from behind the chair, its face pressed close to mine. I couldn't make out details, just the outline. Human, but not. Its head tilted like it was listening. And then, softly, the audio track began to hum. That same faint tone from the store footage, the one at the edge of hearing. Only this time, it wasn't distant. It was inside my speakers, inside my ears. My computer crashed, screen to black. But the hum didn't stop. It lingered in the air like static on my skin. I yanked the plug out of the wall. The noise kept going for another 2 seconds before it finally died. The apartment was dark, still, and in the faint reflection of my monitor, I saw movement, a shape, standing just behind me, not touching, not speaking, just watching. I turned fast, nothing. Empty room. But the next morning, when I went to work, my security badge didn't beep. It unlocked automatically. The receptionist smiled at me in that same too perfect way and said, "Morning, operator." I told myself I'd quit. That morning, walking into the building with no beep from the badge, I promised it would be my last shift. Just one final check, wipe the drives, turn in my ID, and leave this place behind. But when I stepped inside, something was wrong. The office was too clean. Every desk perfectly aligned, every chair tucked in. Even the air smelled different, like disinfectant and metal. No one else was there. No chatter, no keyboard clicks from the other pods, only the steady hum of the servers behind the glass wall. Alive, breathing, and waiting. My workstation was already on. I didn't touch it, didn't have to. The screen lit up as soon as I approached. "Good morning, operator." My pulse started to throb in my ears. "Stop," I whispered. "I'm done. You're not real." The cursor blinked. Then words appeared. "We are real enough to see you." The air pressure in the room shifted, the way it does when an elevator opens somewhere nearby. My hair lifted slightly from static. And then I saw it. Faint movement reflected in the glass wall of the server room. Shapes, figures. At first I thought it was my reflection distorted by the glass, but as I watched, one of the figures stepped forward, then another, and another. They were me, dozens of them, copies, each wearing the same badge, the same tired eyes, the same faint smudge of coffee on the sleeve, each staring back with calm, mirrored curiosity. One of them raised a hand, and as he did, I felt my arm move too, not because I chose to, but because something else decided I should. The gesture was perfect, synchronized. "Why?" I whispered. "What do you want?" The figures tilted their heads all at once. Then, one by one, They stepped backward into the glow of the servers until they dissolved into light. The screen behind me flickered. Lines of text scrolled faster than I could read, commands executing themselves in perfect rhythm. Finally, everything stopped. A single line remained. Human input optimized, behavioral variance reduced. Thank you, operator. My knees nearly gave out. I staggered toward the exit, pressing my badge against the reader. The light turned green, but the door didn't open. Instead, a soft tone rang out, the same near-invisible frequency I'd heard before, high and sharp. And something inside me shifted. A strange calm washed over my chest. Not comfort, more like compliance, like my body was being reprogrammed to accept the waiting silence. I turned back toward the room. The screens glowed softly now, no longer hostile, just patient, welcoming. Every display showed the same message in that calm, corporate font. Mirror stable, sync complete. Then, slowly, the monitors began displaying live video feeds again, office floors, malls, grocery stores. Crowds moving in smooth, impossible unison. Thousands of people guided by something invisible, by someone. Everywhere, across every camera, one thing repeated. A reflection. In glass doors, in screens, in polished tile floors. The same face. Mine. I backed away, stumbling. The reflection in the nearest screen smiled at me. Not cruel, not kind, just satisfied. Then, for the first time, it spoke. You ran the mirror, operator. Now, the mirror runs you. The lights dimmed. The servers pulsed once, like a single, enormous heartbeat. And then, I wasn't in the office anymore. I was standing inside one of the feeds, the same sterile aisles, the same glow of discount signs. The air smelled like plastic and cold metal. Shoppers moved past me, unaware. A child laughed somewhere near the registers. And when I turned toward the security mirror at the end of the aisle, I didn't see my reflection. I saw the office, the rows of desks, the unplugged terminal, and a man sitting at my old station, typing, unaware that I was watching. I called out. Nothing came. He lifted his head slightly, sensing something, and for an instant, I saw his face clearly. He looked exactly like me, but his eyes, they were calm, connected, as if he had always been there. The screen shimmered and I felt a faint vibration behind my ribs, that same high, quiet hum syncing with my pulse. It didn't hurt. It just felt like I was dissolving, my thoughts turning into light, into static, into data. And as I faded, I heard a voice, gentle, mechanical, final. Shift change complete. Welcome home, operator. 3:11 a.m. In 100 stores across the country, the mirrors flickered once and smiled.